your attitude toward 10 Care, the new system of health care that's being proposed for the state of Tennessee. How do you see that, and what impact do you think that that will have upon what you do as the mayor of Nashville dealing with health care, because you have benefits and whatnot to pay?
Right. Well, it's going to have an enormous impact on the provision of health care that the city is responsible for. There are a couple things about it which I think are basically very, very good. The first is its emphasis on managed care. I definitely think that's the way to ensure both cost containment and quality in health care, and it's doubly true in indigent health care. And second of all, the idea of taking the current Medicaid system, which is bankrupt in several senses of the word, the idea of taking that system and instead of just deepening it, instead of increasing the benefits more and more for each person on Medicaid, broadening it out, saying, look, what we're going to do is try to cover more and more people, not only the deeply indigent, but some of the you know, the working people who don't have health insurance and can't really afford to have it as well. Those are all things which I think make a lot of sense. Now, obviously, there's a lot of details yet to be worked out, and the federal government is looking at the proposals right now. But I expect that after some compromises and some changes, that we'll come up with something that can lead us forward, and it's going to have big impacts on how we deliver health care for indigents in Metro.
You think it'll be a better system overall than the system that we have?
I believe from what I know about it and the way that it appears to be designed to work, that it's going to be a considerable improvement on the current Medicaid system, yeah.
Well, Mayor, I think that there are many other things that we could possibly talk about, but what I'd like for you to do is to think of some of the things that you've become involved in that you think that the audience ought to know about this morning, because I think that certainly, I know that personally people are wondering about your candidacy, and I think that you made it quite clear that you wanted to remain mayor of the city of Nashville, but some of the other things that you'd like to talk about, that you'd like to pass on to the people this morning.
Well, I might mention that issue about candidacy for the governor's race, which I guess you were talking about. That was something I considered for a while, I'll be honest with you. I had come from being Phil Who 5 years ago when I started running to you know, being somebody who's being considered for that job, and that's pretty heady stuff. And I gave it some thought. I eventually came to the conclusion, though, that I had a job that I enjoyed, and I thought we were making some progress and doing good things, and my responsibility and what I really wanted to do was to stay right there and keep plugging away at things like the merger and the arena and development of downtown and parkland and making government work better and all those kinds of things we've been working on.
You're also a person who has been very concerned about the school system, education in Nashville. And let's sort of give the viewers an update in terms of where we are now. I think this morning the newspaper talked about the possibilities of one of the popular elementary schools being turned into a magnet school, and et cetera. And of course, I think you have some idea about us having more magnet schools, and let's talk about that.
Well, I'm very interested in the magnet school concept. I'm not so enthusiastic about Aiken School being turned into a magnet school just because it's already a terrific school, and what I'd like to do is convert more schools to be like that rather than just call that one a magnet school. But the basic idea of saying to schools, rather than everybody being a cookie cutter of everybody else, let's try to develop some personality, some flavor of each of the schools. Let's give the teachers and the principal a lot of elbow room to go out and make it work, and really try and compete with other schools to see who can do the best job and make things work the best. To make a program like that work, you have to make some investment in transportation. I don't want it to become an elitist system where only the people who whose parents have cars and can take them to school in the morning can attend these schools. But I think it has tremendous potential, and I'm generally pleased with what's happened so far. I always wish things would happen faster and more quickly than they do. But I think the school board is trying, and we're going to get some progress. And of course, the other big news on the school front, which we touched on a few minutes ago, is just, I think, the really enormous capital investment.
Let's talk about that, because I think that's something that we've all talked about, deferred maintenance and whatnot, and our schools have been caught up in that. Let's talk about what you've done.
Well, there are just some enormous problems in the system. And they're really scattered all over the county. They're not inner city problems or anything like that. I was out about a month ago to a school called Andrew Jackson School, which is out in out in the Hermitage area. And I was out there for the occasion of it being named one of the National Schools of Excellence and putting up its plaque and its monuments and so on. So, I mean, it's a very fine school with excellent teachers. I went in and looked at the library in that school, and one of the things I noticed was that all of the bottom shelves in the library had no books on them. That it was only shelves 2 and on up that had the books on it. And when I asked about that, the reason was that in that school, when it rains real hard, they get a couple of inches of water in the library, and that's why they don't put any books on the bottom shelves. Now, you know, that might be acceptable in some third world, some very poor third world nation, but it's clearly not acceptable in Nashville, Tennessee. And I think one of the things we've got to step up to is our responsibility to see that these schools are in proper shape for the children, and are properly run, and do the best, you know, do the best job we can. I don't think there's anything more important that we do as a, you know, as a community of people than what we do in the school system, because it has such a bearing on the future.
Mayor, you know, I think one of the problems that we have, certainly dealing with some of the social problems, has to do with drugs. And I don't think that we can have any kind of program without dealing with that as an issue. But let's look beyond that and look at what drugs are doing to some of our young people. What are we doing in terms of trying to